Next week is shaping up to be one of the most important weeks for Bitcoin and the market as a whole. With countless news events within days of each other, the traditional markets retesting bear market resistances, and of course Bitcoin coming close to that bear market descending trend line. A lot is going to happen, a big move is coming. Let's go ahead, discuss it. Okay, welcome back to the channel, MegaWhale team. Thank you for tuning into today's video. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. We're going to go ahead and take a look at Bitcoin today. And as per the intro, there is a lot to talk about. We have economic news, we have macro downtrends, we have bear market resistances, we have price action data for Bitcoin, and obviously a short-term analysis. So before we get into anything, hit the like button, hit the comment button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. We do daily Bitcoin videos, daily market analysis, focusing on objective, pure TA. And of course, guys, if you're interested in the Telegram channel, go ahead, second link down in the pinned comment down below, access to all of our updates, charts, videos, analysis, information, news events, and so much more. You can get access there. If you're interested in joining our VIP trading channel, we get access to trading signals such as this with entries, targets, and stop loss. Contact me down below. Let's get into it. So we'll start with the market data as per usual. We can see for the month we're negative in December. Very slightly, 0.74%, very slightly negative. And again, we're only about 6 days into December, so about 1/4 of the way through, coming up on 1/4 of the way through. We are showing a lot of consolidation so far for a week into December. Looking at the quarterly, of course, we are coming to around negative 12.2 on the quarterly. Again, if we do close this quarter red, this will be the first ever 4 red consecutive quarters Bitcoin has ever seen in the entire time Bitcoin has been active. So that will be a pretty significant thing. 4 red consecutive quarters, pretty bearish. Moving on, volatility 4.02, and as we said yesterday, we should start to see the volatility drop down as this chunk of volatility where we saw this massive spike in volatility at the start of the month gets cleared out, okay? Because the majority of the volatility that's coming from that 30-day period came from this rise from around 1.67 all the way up to about 4.04. Until then, for the last 20 or so days, we've been pushing very much sideways in volatility. So the intraday volatility hasn't really been fluctuating too much. It's more or less that 30-day period volatility, because we had that huge spike in volatility. It's kind of averaging that down. So as we start moving along December, if the price action stays more or less in a consolidatory phase, we're going to see volatility continue to drop. Volumes went up a little bit in the last 24 hours. As volume rises, liquidations rise, so we do know volume went up, and that is mainly because we did push upwards a little bit on Bitcoin, but has since actually retraced. So we'll go ahead and get into that in a second. Economic news, guys, real quickly. There's some really important economic news for Bitcoin. Of course, coming up on the 9th of December, we're looking at the PPI. Looking on the 13th, we're looking for CPI, obviously for the core inflation rate and just the inflation year on year. And obviously moving down, we have the FOMC interest rate decisions, which are coming on the 14th, which is around 8 days away. So a lot of key economic data coming up in a 4-day window, and it's going to be huge. You can expect the markets to be volatile. You can expect the markets to be fluctuating. You can expect a lot of price action to occur, and I highly recommend you stay very, very cautious while moving into those periods, because the price is going to start getting a little choppy. Anyway, let's go ahead and look at the rest of the market. So DXY. And the DXY actually had this false break yesterday. We saw a breakdown. We said that we were looking for about 103.8. It looks like we only made it to around 104. We found a bit of support. We pushed back up to retest this major support zone. So until we break through a support zone, we can assume this support zone is going to be acting now as a resistance, and therefore we can expect some degree of rejection towards this level unless we actually break through. If we do break through, we're pushing up to this trend line. And guys, if we do push up to this trend line, we actually do expect this trend line to break to the upside. Of course, this is a descending channel formation. This is a bullish pattern. So at the end of the day, if we do push upwards here, I do believe we'll be pushing through and we'll be breaking up to potentially 109. Now, of course, this will be terribly bearish to the markets. Traditional markets will reject from the bear market resistances. Bitcoin will push much lower. So we do not want to see this happen if we're on the bull side of the scenario. But if you're hoping for lower prices, this is kind of what you want to be hoping for. And obviously with CPI, FOMC, PPI, all this stuff is going to cultivate a scenario where this could occur or result in a scenario where DXY continues towards the downside. No matter what comes out, we're going to see a lot of choppy price action here on the DXY, a lot of choppy price action on the traditionals and Bitcoin. Total crypto market cap will come back to Dow Jones. So we did get rejected from that bear market resistance over here. We broke upwards. We had this bearish divergence that we created, obviously a higher high in the price action, higher low on the RSI. And again, this is going to indicate some degree of rejection, potentially continuation downwards for worst case scenario. We're looking like we're getting rejected and continuing down. What I'd be looking for here before we start to see any kind of positive price action again, I'll be waiting for a break around 35,000 and then we'll be continuing upwards. Dow Jones looking just as grim, obviously getting rejected from that bear market resistance over here. Horribly brutal rejection over here in this rising ascending wedge formation. Of course, breaking down will be terrible for the Dow Jones, for S&P 500, sorry, and we can expect the prices to come down. We could potentially come down to new lows. Of course, it's sitting around 3,600, and we could potentially come down and retest this little low over here, which is around 3,900. So looking for those levels, of course, to the upside, we would like to see a break above this ascending trend line to see any sort of upward continuation. Before I get bullish on this, I'd like to see a break of 4,300. That would almost confirm that continuation to these higher levels. Okay, let's go ahead and get into Bitcoin. So the short term for Bitcoin is looking quite interesting. We saw a pretty significant breakout yesterday, but it didn't really get sustained. We saw a decent breakout on the smaller time frame. We pushed up through this trigger zone from 17,140 to 17,170. all the way up to about 17,400, tapping 17,400, which of course was this high over here, and failing to get above. So we do have a new resistance level, and as you can see now, we're starting to create some volume peaks over here on the VRPB. If you've been watching the channel for the last few weeks, you would notice that this entire range above this area here, above this resistance chunk over here, was pretty much flat. So it's starting to create some resistance and some support around that level, which of course makes it harder and harder for the price to start pushing back into those ranges and through those ranges on second retests. If we go to a smaller time frame, we can see a very clear breakdown of this structure. We had a ascending trend line, so we had this support, a very clear support line. We had our RSI base support over here. Again, our momentum over here provided some degree of a base, and we had this breakdown occur, and we had a loss of that RSI just before. So we had this indication that momentum shifted towards the downside and the price action followed. Obviously, we went into this oversold territory, and that is where we were looking to take those profits, and we got that short in the group chat on VIP, which is nice to see. On the upside, guys, we are looking like we're retesting the 50. We're struggling a bit on the 50 over here. Again, we are in that same position again now. We're pushing sideways between that trigger and that major support. So it goes back to exactly what we were saying before. If we lose this major support, we can expect a continuation to the downside. Of course, our target remains this uptrending support line. This larger time frame uptrending support line is still that target towards the downside. That looks like it's going to correspond with this horizontal support range. We can expect something around 16,600 to 16,800 as a target if we do lose the support line. And of course, breaking down below this uptrend can result in targets of these next supports towards the downside for the short term. Alternatively, guys, we will need to start breaking through its highs again. Every time we break through its highs and find support, we can expect pushes upwards. Obviously, that next local high will be this 18,172 point, which of course is that key resistance on a larger time frame. So let's really quickly go over what we will see if we go upwards here on the short term, and what we will see if we go upwards here on the downwards here on the short term, and how that will affect the larger scale of things, how that's going to affect the larger time frame. So what we'll go do is we'll go to a daily chart. So let's say we go and break down below these support levels. Let's say we break through this uptrending support level over here, and we break below this low, and this low was sitting around 15,500, potentially below 15,500, maybe 15,492 to be precise. Okay, say we come down, we break through this low, where can Bitcoin realistically go? So we're looking at the 1-day chart over here, looking at the VRPV, keeping that one in mind. We can expect a price move towards these chunks of volume. So what I'd be looking at over here is around 12,000 for a base and 13,900 for a little bit higher. And of course, for some reason, this chart again is doing that thing where it doesn't load this. So I'll go to a different chart really quickly. If we go to this chart over here on a daily chart, maybe this will be a bit better, and bring up the VRPV, what we can see on this chart, we'll be able to see a little bit more clear. So we can see 13,900 was in fact this local high we had in June 2019. It was also the breaking point that we actually struggled to break above for quite some time before we entered this parabolic rally. That first leg of the bull market actually initiated at that breaking point. And of course, that next target we're looking at was around 12,000. Of course, that represented that top we had in August 20, that rejection point, as well as that top we had over here after that June high, which was around August 19. So if you take a look at the VRPV here, just below the 12,000 range, we have an immediate chunk of support, okay? So what it's indicating is we have a degree of support over here. We are not going to be pushing through this level without finding a degree of major support within this range over here. Essentially, where momentum's coming down, volume's coming down, and we hit a brick wall. That's essentially what it's showing us. There's a big brick wall sitting there at 12,000. So for us to smash through a brick wall would take a lot of selling pressure. So that is the bearish scenario there. Obviously, towards the downside, we do expect that to occur. If we go ahead and go back to this chart here, to the upside, guys, what we're looking at for the upside is relatively quite simple. Looking for an honest, reliable, and accurate exchange that you can trust to trade on, go ahead and sign up to Bitget with the link down below and join myself and all of our other VIP members and other members who trade on Bitget daily. There's a whole range of benefits and features you can actually get by trading on Bitget. These include no government regulations, meaning you can sign up from anywhere in the world. There's no KYC, 0% trading fees on spot, massively reduced trading fees on futures. It's one of the lowest in the game. And most importantly, access to their protection fund in case the exchange gets hacked. You can actually get reimbursed for your funds, so you can ensure your funds are safe. Now, most importantly, if you do sign up with the link down below, that first link, you'll get access to 2 additional features. These include access to a reward center where you can get up to $4,163 in rewards, and access to the MegaWhale exclusive referral link, bonus discounts. Every other month we do bonus campaigns. We get up to 10% off your trading fees, or even you get a percentage of your trading fees refunded to your account as USDT. Essentially, you get paid to be on the exchange. That's enough, guys. We'll get back into the video. We do need to break back through this absolute June bottom we had over here. Okay, this June bottom we had over here. Ideally, we'll be looking for a break back above 19,000. Okay, 19,000 is that key level. If we go ahead and bring this up, you can see the VRPV is pushing around 20,000, but we're looking for anything above around 19,000. And 19,000 is important because if you go ahead and look at where the support levels are, we had a lot of support around this 19,000 prior. So 19,000 is that key level, and here we go, the VRPV is matching up. We're looking for our 19,000 break to confirm a continuation through the support zone and a potential retest of this downward sloping resistance. So we're looking for that, guys. So upside, anything from here to around 19,000, anything from here really into the support range should be considered just a swing high. Every single move upwards should be considered with skepticism, and we can reject. Okay, obviously the traditional markets are at resistance, DXY is at support. Until those flip, we have to expect that this downtrend should continue, but technically speaking, we are in a downtrend still. Looking for breaks over these major support levels, this is a 4 to 5 month long support, will indicate strength. Major resistances turn to major supports, therefore then we expect the price to rise upwards through this resistance and continue. What are we looking at on the larger time frame for any sort of bullish price action? Well, we will need to break through a very clear zone, which is of course the 24,500 and the 21,300. These are the 2 key levels on the larger time frame that we need to break. If we break through this level here, we can see volume starts to drop off. We'll be pushing up to 24,400, and obviously above here, basically no volume into about 30 grand. And that is of course that yearly low that absolute yearly low we had for Bitcoin, that bull market support level we had over here that lasted since, what was it? Since January 2021 to May 2022. So over a year of support lies at that level. That will be the ideal zone to retest for a rally. Until we break through that level, technically we're not macro bullish, we're just in a uptrend. So watch those levels, guys. Back to the larger time frame, you can see Bitcoin is still under this downtrending resistance. Of course, for us to get macro bullish, we need to break above. If you go ahead and look at this chart, you can see the VRPV is sitting at that 19,000 level. We have a huge chunk of volume over here in that range. Of course, there's 4 months long of support. We do expect a lot of volume here, but as we start clearing those levels, we can start pushing up to these next chunks over here. And obviously it gets a little bit hairy as we start moving past 30,000, as we do have a lot of volume in that range. So keep an eye on that, guys. Obviously, there's a lot going on the news in the next few days. Before the 14th, there's a lot going on and anything can happen. I don't personally trade news events. I like to sit them out and I like to react. I don't like to jump in beforehand. A lot can happen here, guys. If we do break upwards from this trend line, we will see a strong continuation that will confirm the breakout of the bear market. Again, if we do see the DXY continue to fall, we could potentially see the stock market break out of this bear market pattern. You know, these are the bear market structures that we've been in for over a year now. So breaking out of these structures will be massively bullish. But until we've broken out of these structures and confirmed the breakout, these structures are still downtrends. These structures are still downtrends. We're still underneath resistance. The worst time to be taking longs is right at these resistance levels. This is the best time to be looking for shorts, okay? Your risk return on longs here are considerably worse than your risk return on longs at any other point throughout this uptrend. So looking for shorts around this level, expecting rejections, and obviously if the data comes out positive and the markets flip and break these resistances, that is when you start getting bullish again. But I'll say this one thing. Do not feel panicked and definitely do not feel rushed to be buying anything at a whim, okay? Even if Bitcoin gets back above 19,000, okay? And I think it will at some point, obviously. But say we get back above this level here. You've still got a great macro entry. You still have a phenomenal macro entry. Your best entry is not the best price you can get. The best entry is the best price you can get with the least risk. That is the key thing. It's not the best price you can buy. It's not the lowest price or the cheapest price. Because the lowest price and the cheapest price is not always the best time to buy. The best time to buy is where you can get the lowest and cheapest price, the least risk possible, and the most confirmation of your hypothesis towards your trend direction that you choose, okay? Keep that in mind. If you want to be a successful trader, part of it is managing risk, not just buying cheap. Buying cheap plays out for people, but sometimes prices never turn around. Look at Luna. People bought cheap and they still got wrecked. So keep that in mind, guys. That being said, I hope you have a fantastic day. Go ahead and sign up to the link down below to Bitget, of course, and join the Telegram channel. If you're interested in learning how to do TA like I do TA, you can go ahead and find more information about Become a Trader course. It's a 10-unit course where we cover TA, market psychology, teaching you guys a variety of different technical indicators, strategies, and so much more. Let's go ahead and finish the video there, and I'll see you tomorrow. Cheers.